Hey, coming up this morning, a gym workout or a home workout, what's best? We're going to talk about it this morning on Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends. Hey, men, get up. Don't hit the snooze button. Well, Mornings in the Lab were
When something negative comes up.
Building muscle improves blood flow.
Nobody is expecting John.
If the lady's saying that, you're just
Being a super
Entertained by funds over here.
How have I slept? Has my sleep been good? That
Get up, get up, get up. Let's go, guys. Let's go. Get after it. Good morning. Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends. You got myself, Keith Billis over here. You got Marty over there. You got Johnny in the bathroom. Yeah, squeezing one off to start the day started. Listen, boys, this is the morning show for men. If you are looking to get yourself going here, this is the show for you guys. And just a quick reminder, this show has language that might offend the children. Yes, it might offend the kids. It might even offend your wife, or it might offend your partner or your buddy across the room. So listen, I invite you guys to put the headphones on, walk out of the room, do whatever you got to do, because we're going to say something bad in front of you. Yep. I'm the rap god. I'm Eminem. No, I'm Keith Billis. Here we go. Yep. Yes. Producer Jimmy's over on the buttons, and we got our friend Tommy. Tommy's a skateboarder over in the community, chatting with all of you guys here on the show. Hey, today, guys, we're going to talk about gym workouts or home workouts. What is better to help you achieve those big-ass goals? We're going to get after that. Good morning, Enzo. Good morning from the future. Good to have you here in the comments. Listen, I invite you guys to subscribe to the channel, like the channel, tell your friends about the greatest morning show on the planet, Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends. Our mission, we get up to help you guys achieve those big goals. Listen, if you guys stay in bed for 9 minutes throughout the whole year, you're going to be 56 hours behind the guy over there. I think we're going to do a show, Jimmy, in the future about what you could accomplish in 56 hours if you just kept hitting the snooze button, or didn't hit the snooze button, I should say. Good morning, Adam Howard. I see you there. Good morning. Good to have you here in the comments this morning. I can sense you are, hey, Adam, what's the weather like in Toronto? It is freaking cold here in Manitoba this morning again. But yeah, guys, listen, if you're hitting the snooze button, you're 9 minutes behind. Do it over the whole year. You're going to be 55 hours behind the guy over there. So get up and get after it here today. Hey, guys, we're going to talk about a few things here this morning. We got AJ Zeglin coming in at the bottom of the hour here, talking Minefield. Don't know what we're going to talk to him with yet. Haven't told him. True story. Yeah, I will get some stuff to talk about. We are also going to talk about, we're going to meet the world's first adult diaper influencer. Yeah, true story. We're not going to meet them, but we're going to talk about them coming up on the show. 9 things, Marty, ears up, brother. 9 things you should do before having sex. We like to talk sex here on the show. We're going to have that conversation this morning as well. And hey, listen, 15 effortless daily habits that will transform your body after 40. But listen, Jimmy, let's bring the boys in. See what they're up to. What's up, Marty?
What's up, big dog?
How are you, Jonathan Anderson? Hey, Johnny, are you Jonathan or are you John?
Just straight up John, and it's even Jon. That was part of the deal amongst my parents naming me.
It was part of the
it had to be literally, yeah, because my dad wanted to name me Garth, and that was way before Garth Brooks. So Garth wasn't a cool name yet. And my mom was like, it sounds like someone's throwing up. I don't want my boy sounding like throw up. And so then my dad said, okay, my mom said, I like John. And my dad said, well, as long as there's no H, we got a deal. So that was the deal.
There you go, Marty. Hey, call me.
Well, keep in mind, here's the thing, though, to go a little deeper on that story, the reason it was a deal, and again, this was actually part of my blessing, so I'm not playing the victim here, is I was the reason they got divorced.
Oh, wow. Well, because they couldn't agree on the name, or was this a shortage of alphabet, or what happened there, Johnny?
Well, because they basically, they'd gotten together. My dad had a daughter. My mom had 2 sons. And so they said, let's just do kind of like the Brady Bunch, let's not have more kids.
Yeah.
Well, kids kind of come when they want to, And so when when she got pregnant.
Well,
That you ask parents, they'll tell you that. Kids, you try to get them, they won't come. As soon as you think, well, we'll try next year, bam, you're pregnant. I mean, me too. But anyway, so she got pregnant. And of course, she's thinking, he was pissed, and because they're setting the clock back like 11 years. You know what I mean? Because the youngest one was 11. Anyway, so she thought, he basically said to her, "It's him or me. You choose." Oh, and point blank. And so she said, "Yeah, it was serious business. He didn't fuck around. And so he was really cut and dry." Anyway, so then she said, "Well, I'm picking him because obviously she would have had to get an abortion." And at that time, that was like crazy shit. You know what I mean? And so she thought, well, once he gets here, he'll stay. Once the baby gets here, he'll stay. And he stayed for 2 months. That was it. Bam.
Jeez.
End of story.
Jeez.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing that, John. Jeez, man.
Wow.
There you go. Hey, Marty.
I was just gonna say my mom was gonna name me Jackson.
Oh yeah.
So my name would have been Jackson Martin.
Jackson. But you ended up with Chris.
Ended up with Christopher. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Christopher. That's right. Yeah. So how did
they both work?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm not sure how she came up with Christopher. I think she said it sounds a little more professional.
Oh, there you go. Well, yeah. Well,
hey, real quick, boys. You're my brothers. Don't think for a minute you got to change the subject because that story that was a blessing. You know what I mean?
Oh no.
Oh yeah. No,
okay, good.
That was a good story.
Make sure. Yeah, I didn't want to make sure that nobody needs to take pity on me. I'm good over here.
No. I think if there's anything we've learned, my friend, Marty, would you not agree that our brother here is not a man who wants pity?
Oh yeah.
Empathy, understanding, and support. The only thing I love about John: empathy, understanding, support, curiosity, but it doesn't want pity. And I think it's a great attribute for a lot of men, frankly, right? Where I don't know if we do, we want understanding, we want curiosity, we want somebody to lean in and listen to us, somebody to embrace how we're feeling, no judgment, but we don't want pity.
Well, the thing about it is, had that not happened, I wouldn't have been raised by my stepfather, who was a fucking great man.
Yeah, you've told me that.
This is a guy who graduated from MIT in 3 years.
That's impressive.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah. The reason I'm so level, like you really difficult to get me mad. Really difficult. Rarely raise my voice. It's from him. When I met him the very first time, he said, I was like, I'm like 6, so I'm just this little porky bastard. He's making me happy with candy, right? Because he's trying to tell me he's going to be my new dad, right?
Yeah.
And so
yes,
he knew he's got me sucking on a candy bar, or whatever he was doing to kind of keep me there. And he's just explaining who he is. And one of the things that I remember so clearly, he said, "You're going to see me mad and raise my voice about as many thumbs as you have on your hands." And I was like, 2? He's like, maybe. And I don't think it was twice, maybe once.
He told you that. He set that expectation.
Yeah, he told me point blank. He says, "You're going to see me raise my voice, get angry and raise my..." Not to say that he didn't get angry. He just never raised his voice. You couldn't tell if he was angry. He had a certain look. He had a look that he would give you. And it's so weird, dude. This is so crazy, right? Because that look came back. He gives me that look through Terry. It's unbelievable. It's like the identical look. I'm like, God damn. She gives me that look, and I'm like, son of a bitch. And, I don't. It's like I know at that point I got to rethink what I'm ready to do.
It's impressive that he had the wherewithal to be that. Honest and frank about the whole situation with you, which is like, hey, this is how I'm going to parent you. This is how I'm going to follow you. That's pretty. And I'm actually, let's stay here for a few minutes, boys, because, I'm a bonus dad. Johnny, you're a bonus dad. You were raised by a bonus dad, right? Marty, you might be a bonus dad one day. I'm choosing the word bonus dad instead of stepdad. I like the term bonus dad. Bonus children is positive to me. Where I got a bonus child. Brookie's not my biological child. It's my bonus child. Right, I love that because it's a positive to me. That's John. I don't know if us men talk about that enough. The role that we play when we're not dad, but dad, Johnny.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say I love your bonus thing. That's really good because it took for me as a stepdad. I knew how to be a stepdad because I was raised by one.
Yes.
But the one thing that I know that he always wanted me to get better, right? and he wanted me to get better at everything. And so I really took it upon myself to get better as a stepdad. I sure as hell wasn't going to get better than him at reading. That's for sure. So that's a guy who read a book a week for his whole life, you know? Anyway, so I love bonus dad, but then I've probably in the last 5 years, I've taken my fatherhood to where I don't see any of my kids, DNA or not, differently. I treat them all the same. I tell them I love them the same. I mean, if anything, I find myself almost veering more towards the non-DNAs because it's like I want to constantly be proving to them that I'm there.
Well, it's interesting to hear you say that, Johnny. And Marty, I'd be curious to hear your POV on this because I think so, Johnny, because biological, we just assume that they love you, right? Well, yeah, they love you. They're your kid. Of course, they're going to love you. But when you have a bonus child or you're a bonus dad, you need to make a choice. Because you can choose not to. You can choose to say, I don't want to love that kid. I don't want to parent the kid. You know what? I love the mom. I love the dad, but I don't want to be part of the kid's life. So when you choose that, and then Johnny, when the kid, when Brookie, I see how Brooke loves me and chooses to love me, and I see the little things that she's done that I've taught her over the years. Yeah, baby, that's my kid over there because I've been teaching her a lot for the last 7 years. Those are pretty fucking cool things.
100%. You know, and as a dad, it's kind of weird. We have to look at it through kind of a twisted. So I don't even know how to describe, but so we talk about expectations, right? Yeah. And expectations can kind of be a killer. Well, in a parent relationship, as a parent and kid, your kid is going to kind of have expectations of you, ultimately think that you're capable of, whether you realize it or not.
Absolutely.
You know, and so Marty, what I do is I make sure. Because for a long time, my steps, if you will, they had their expectation of me was lower because how I was performing.
So hold on, Johnny. I'm not. Which ones are the steps? I didn't even know that. I wasn't even aware of that. I wasn't even aware
because Terry and I presented. Because we've been together for 20 years and we have this wonderful family. We don't really.
Gotcha.
Used to be we would say, this is our family. We're the Brady Bunch. The middle one is DNA me, the older one is and the younger one is DNA Terry. But now,
got you.
Okay. None of that matters.
I love that Marty didn't know that. I because that just shows that there's a family.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah,
got you. Okay.
Yeah. So, but it's kind of crazy for those stepdads out there. Just realize that that your child, your stepchild, well, kids in general, but in steps is going to be always because they're not DNA. They don't have that innate thing, but kids have certain expectations of their parents. They're only going to expect from you what you've proven to be able to provide for them.
Yes. Yeah.
So I realize with my steps, I got to turn up the fucking volume because I want them to expect every fucking thing that the DNA one does. And the DNA one, she got some high fucking expectations. God damn it.
I feel the same way about the whole situation, John. I really do. Marty, when and Jimmy, we're going to go to the accountability check-in here in a quick second. Marty, I'm really excited, really cool to hear that you didn't really recognize that Johnny had a mixed family. When you hear that, Marty, what do you think as a dad one day, and maybe going to have bonus children one day, and you're raised by your parents? What do you think as a father one day about this discussion?
I mean, in an ideal world, I would want my own family all together.
Yeah.
But anything could happen, and my parents were separated, so my whole life.
Yes.
And so my dad, he remarried. I have a stepmom.
Okay. Yeah.
She's been nothing but amazing to me.
Well, that's awesome. Do you call her mom or do you call her by her name? How do you I
just call her by her. I call her by her name.
Yeah. So Carter calling Lauren, right? Same kind of.
Yeah. And not that it matters, but I mean, she's white, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's I don't even see that. I just see family.
I love that. Yeah. So Marty, when you were raised, you were raised by mom and dad independently, right? And then you hung out with both and shared by both. So right.
And mostly by my mom. My coaches kind of played more father figures in my life.
Yes. Yeah.
So when my dad,
Marty,
my dad lived out of state.
This is awesome discussion, boys, because this just doesn't happen enough. Doesn't happen enough. So the fact that we're talking about it, I love this, Johnny.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Marty, I when I was your age, I had the same exact. I had this idea of what I wanted, right? Because it's why would we not have this idea? Like my oldest brother, he's got what I call the all-American family. You know, it's an original unit, right?
Yes, I like
No,
that.
and that's fucking great. It's fucking great. And both of my brothers have original units, you know, to be told. So I'm the only one that doesn't. But what I'm getting at is that when you have these, you know, like these other children that came into my life, right?
Yeah.
It was just this massive, massive opportunity and such a blessing that I would have never registered how amazing it could be until it actually happened. Because I grew up in a step environment, right? And looking back now, I see how I was perceived by my stepdad, the same way I perceived my stepkids. So I guess what I'm getting at is that once you get in it and you really apply yourself, you don't see original or not anymore. So just keep in mind, if it doesn't turn out to be original, just keep on trucking, brother. It's equally amazing.
You know what's magical too, and I think Marty can speak to this, Johnny. It's magical when you see, like John, from your perspective, it's magical when you see your partner fall in love with your children. Right? Yeah. So when I see Lauren loving Piper and Lauren loving Carter, like that it warms me. Marty, be the same thing with you, right? With your dad. They
just went out of town together, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Did Lauren and Carter just go out of town? Lauren and Piper, I meant. Didn't they just go out of town?
No, Lauren Brookie went out of town last weekend.
That was Lauren and Brookie. Okay, I thought she. Okay. Yeah.
But Marty, it'd be the same thing with you, where you know your dad remarries, and what's her name? What's your bonus mom's name?
Jackie.
Jackie. So when Jackie falls in love with you, and what's your dad's name?
Bill.
Bill is just loving Jackie because he's seeing.
Yeah.
Jackie's, right. Like, and it's hard to describe that. It really is until you go through it, because John knows what I'm talking about. Like when Bill is seeing Jackie love you, Bill's going, yes. Like there's
on that level, 100%, brothers. Because like the middle daughter, who's DNA me,
yes,
she has a much deeper relationship with Terry than she does her DNA mother.
No kidding.
Oh yeah, wow. Not even comparable. I mean, it's very different because keep in mind, it's not like the DNA mother is. It's not like there's not but it's just different because Terry provided that stability that the DNA and the mother had a hard time with.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's so I see the same thing with Piper and Lauren, right? So Piper has a very different relationship. She's close to her mom, of course, but she's also very close to Lauren. And I can see the conversations that Piper has with Lauren that she has with her mom are different. Right, because Lauren's been in Piper's life. Well, Johnny since Piper was 8, so just a little bit longer than you, John, or even with you, Marty, when you went through your life, right? So Piper's been around.
I know my stepmom since I was 5, so I
there
understand.
You go. Yeah, and I was in Brookie's world since she was a year and a half, right? And Brookie's 8 now, 8.5, right? So I love it. This is great, boys. We gotta keep. Oh man, I fucking love this conversation because nobody talks about these things.
It's because it all starts with somebody pulling their pants down, baby.
It's true, brother. It's absolutely.
You know.
Speaking of pulling pants down, I'm going to talk about some accountability. Johnny, you going to go do your thing?
I was going to say I haven't had the dump yet, so this might be it.
And then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about the things you need to do before having sex, gentlemen. Yes. Oh, hey, Good Time's joining us. Oh, I love this, guys. I love this. Good Time. I was raised by my stepfather from the age of 1. I called him Dad. Never met the biological father. I love you, Good Time. Thanks for sharing that, brother. I thank you for sharing that with all of us. That's awesome. We're gonna have more of these conversations on the show. Actually, I think that's what we're gonna talk about with AJ today. Zeglin, if you're tuning in, we're gonna talk about bonus children and being a bonus dad and those challenges that happen in that experience. But before we do that, Jimmy, cut the time. We're gonna do the accountability check-in, and I'm gonna do that with the glasses off. All right, here we go. Listen, most people sabotage themselves by treating their goals like a race. You know, race. Well, here's the thing. They burn out, they quit, and they feel stuck. But real success, you guys, it doesn't come quick. No, baby. It's an evolution. Putting in the work day after day after day after day. So, listen, you want to stop sabotaging yourself? I have an invitation for you. Do this. Catch your excuses. Catch them early. I'm busy. I'll start Monday. Call bullshit. Call bullshit on your own mirror and call bullshit on your friend. If you're hanging out with Good Time or Shinku or World of Enzo or any Adam Holroyd, call him on it. Adam's like, yeah, I'm busy. No, you're not. You got time to go for a walk for 30 minutes today? Good time. You got time to go get your shit done today? I know you do. You don't need perfect conditions to take action, boys. It's funny because I knew I was going to be sitting for a long time today doing work. So I went for an extra 30-minute walk today. Like, really? Like, I know I'm going to be sitting for a good chunk of the day today. So I go, fuck, I'm going to go for 30 minutes. I got 30 minutes this morning at 5 o'clock in the morning. I got 12 hours of heading before I go back to bed. Shrink the goal because your goal is never too big. But I know what is. It's those steps. So start with one little step, win it, and then think about how impossible it is to skip the next. Make those goals flexible. Life evolves. Don't make them rigid. Rigidity is your enemy. Smart goals are fucking for the 40s, man. Flexible goals are for today. So listen, one way you're going to stop sabotaging yourself is getting started now. Let us know in the comments. Get after it. Good time. I'd love to have you there as well. All right, Jimmy, let's keep the show rolling, brother. Let's get Marty in here while Johnny's doing his thing there. Marty, I got something for us to talk about, brother. I got a fun topic to get it to the bottom of the hour before we get into what's better in the workouts, which is Jimmy. Here's a segment for a long form video, Jimmy. 9 things you should always do before having sex. Christopher Martin.
Clean your balls. Wash your balls. Wash your drawers.
Yeah, well, cleaning your balls
and shave.
Especially if it's the first date, eh? You got to clean the balls, make sure you're all sorted out here. But here's the thing. Man. Here's the thing. First thing, hint at sex long before you want it. And it's funny, Marty, because I was reading an article on the weekend about scheduling sex with your partner. And people are like, I don't want to schedule sex. But Marty, when you go on a date with a young lady and you're kind of on your second or third date, in your mind, you're thinking that you might be having sex. It's actually in many ways scheduled. Like, so if you think about it, right? So you're going to work today, you're going, yeah, I got a date with a young lady on Thursday night at 8 o'clock. Like, that's in the calendar. In your mind, you might be having sex. In many ways, it's scheduled. Yet when we become in relationships, the idea of you saying to your wife or your girlfriend, yeah, let's have sex on Thursday at 8 o'clock. She's like, we're putting it in the calendar? You think it's a mindset, right? It's a mindset,
I mean,
right?
I kind of schedule it.
No, I think you got to schedule it.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
You got to schedule it because if you don't, life gets too busy, man.
That's what I was going to say. If you're busy and you're productive and you got shit going on, you got to schedule it,
100%.
More likely than not, you're not just sitting around with a gap of time to fuck around,
Especially as we get older with children and we get responsibilities and life. Mm-hmm. It's like, hey, man, I got to find something because in my experience, if you don't find time for your partner, it's just going to go sideways, man. So, and then here's the thing too. And men, I'm going to invite you to think about this. Good time, ears up. Johnny, I'm glad Johnny's coming in for this one, is that us men are, for the most part, just ready to just drop and get at it. But there's something to be said for bringing our lady along for the ride throughout the day. Maybe dropping some love notes, some love hints, getting the emotional state ready so that when it's time to get into the moment, we're ready to rock and roll.
You got to play both sides of the fence is the way I see it.
Yes, I agree with you.
Because, like literally this year, Tara and I laid out a schedule for our third time.
Yes.
Sometimes we have like a whiteboard and we wrote in what we're doing.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so yesterday was a perfect example. Yesterday was riding. We went and rode, right? But then
Terry riding
turned out to get it.
Terry riding.
Well, we did both. We rode the motorcycles, right? Went out to the track, right?
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Like 2 o'clock, it's a nice break. I've been kicking ass. Go out there. I'm refreshed. I come back, got back to work, and then I could just tell the energy in the air. Where I was like,
"Yes,
honey, what do you think?" It was that spontaneous thing. She's like, I'll meet you in the shower in 5 minutes.
Oh, I love that, man.
But that's what I'm saying. You can, you make sure you have it in your schedule so it doesn't get away from you, but don't be afraid to be spontaneous.
Yeah. You know what I like to do? I love sharing my words with my wife. I love, because I'm a cerebral human. My brain's always going. So often what I'll do is I'll just write love letters. And I find that, and sometimes I know what men, we sometimes get maybe uncomfortable speaking verbally. Just get behind your phone and send your lady a love letter. And then if that's going to help open the door to speak verbally, do it that way.
Well, and brother, that's a really, really good point because guys, one of the things that I would suggest that's helped me a ton is figure out what your lady's love language is. Terry likes me to write shit
Yes.
far more than say it.
Yes.
'Cause I'm verbal. I'll say it all the fucking time, but when it's in writing, it's more real to her. That's where the morning text comes every fucking morning. And some mornings it's just a heart. Other mornings it's like, I'm so appreciative for what you did yesterday.
Yep.
Always a little different, but expressing gratitude and love. And to her, that's her language.
Yeah, that's fantastic, Johnny. All right, next one, guys. 9 things you should always do before having sex. Safe sex. So if you're into condoms, if you're into whatever you need to be safe, whether it's an IUD, whether it's condom, whether it's having a towel and pulling out method, whatever it is, have awareness that you make sure you're
Hold
ready.
on. Did you just say having a towel and pull it out?
Yeah.
Who the fuck has a towel and you're going to pull it out, for God's
You know what, Johnny? I just let him go on. I didn't even say anything.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Jesus Christ, that thing's wherever that thing lands is where it lands. And the last thing I'm worried about is a towel.
Well, I'm just saying later, if you just want to make sure you're going to clean up later, you might want to have the towel. Or just because.
No, it's very, very it's a very, very interesting thought. I've just never had it before.
Because if you're going to be using some lube, so the number 3 on the 9 things you should do always be having sex, that if you need lube, things can get messy, right? So you want to have the towel around. So, you got to get the mental state. You're going to have the safe sex scenario ready. And then you might want to have the lube by the bedside in case you need to have some lubricant to move it along. Marty?
I'm with you, man. I kind of just let it, I choose my spot for the day and let it go there. And then
choose your spot.
And then straight to the shower after.
That's it. Consider the details. Right, so maybe music, maybe lighting, Johnny, Marty. Maybe it's having the towels out of the shower in the right place, so when you guys get out of the shower. But it's the little details that might add a little element to the room. That if you're maybe a little more romanceful, Johnny, you might do a little more. Or if maybe you're looking to do a little bit of a BDSM type scenario, it's having the whips, the chains, the leather all around. I'm being serious if you're into kink and stuff, but it's having the details ironed out, right? It's number 5, guys, stimulating the brain. However you're going to do that, whether it's through words, what's the love language? Is it introducing pornography like videos or pictures? But what are you introducing to stimulate the brain, right? And especially, Johnny, as we know, Marty, women, it starts in the brain, right? So men quickly, we got our 2 heads, and our heads and our pants typically do a lot of the thinking. With our females, it's like, hey, what can we do to stimulate the brain to get them in the mood, boys?
Yeah. I mean, that's often. I mean, Terry and I will often talk about sex.
Yes,
we're kind of getting prepared to have sex.
Absolutely. Good morning, Scott Benzie. I see you there in the comments. Thanks for joining the show here this morning. We are talking about 9 things you should always do before having sex. We're on number 6 here. Johnny, make a to-do list and then put it away. I don't know about that one. I'm not a to-do list.
I'm not understanding. Make a to-do about sex.
Yeah. So maybe
let's make it. How would that even invite him? I'm not understanding how that would apply. Make a to-do list, like wipe my ass, take a shower, brush my teeth.
So the article talks about.
I said that shit should have happened already, man. Why's that got to do with sex, man?
Your spouse or partner, or you, Johnny or Marty, is the man going into the bedroom. If your brain is thinking about the to-do list, I got to get that fucking report done for Marty today.
Oh! You're talking about getting rid of the to-do list.
Yeah, you got to make yourself.
Okay, got you.
Put the to-do list in the other room. You're not talking about the to-do list with your partner in the bed. You want to get it out of the room. You want to make yourself present.
Well, and I was going to say, the word "be present," right?
Yes,
that actually is a present to yourself. And if you're not present, 100%. If you're present for yourself, you're going to feel. And I'm just talking about sex. I'm talking about anything.
Yes.
If you think about it, there really is no past. There is no future, because if you're not living in the present, you're not really getting the whole stimulation of life. But what I'm getting at is when you truly live in that present, especially in the sexual situation, it changes the whole fucking game, because you're giving that to them, just like you said. It's a present to them. It's a present to yourself. And all it takes is one of you guys to be truly present, and the shit is contagious.
I'll be vulnerable, pull my pants down with you boys. I talk often with Lauren about presence, because when she's present with me, and when she's present with me, Johnny, Marty, I'm sure you can feel the same thing with your partners. It's fucking magical, man. It is there. I can't. The feeling I have in my heart, the feeling I have in my whole being, that the way that she makes me feel when she's present, the same way I know that I make her feel when I'm present. And I bring it up, boys, and lean on her for a couple minutes or a couple seconds here. It's hard to do. Like when we're busy with life and everything around you, it's a hard thing to make yourself present, not only in a meeting and with life, but in an intimate situation. So when you can do it, a lot of magic can happen when you're present. Number 7, Johnny, Marty, do one thing that makes you feel sexier. And I'm serious, boys or men, right? Maybe it's getting it pumping in the morning. Maybe it's going into the shower and doing a little extra shaving down there and, around the equipment, but doing something to make yourself feel a little better. Johnny.
I think that should be a daily occurrence, not just on a day where you're having sex. Jesus Christ, absolutely. Of course. I mean, if you're not feeling good, I mean, what is it? What's the old saying? Look good, feel good, perform good. You got to fucking take care of your shit.
That's right. You pay good, you play good.
It's a chain. It's a fucking chain reaction. So keep your fucking pubes trimmed all the goddamn time. Keep that shit shaved up. Whatever it is you got to do to make yourself feel like the man. It should be a daily fucking thing.
It's true. Absolutely.
I thought real men grow a bush, Johnny.
Hey, Bush, you're making a comeback.
I guess it really depends on, everybody has their own definition of being a real man, I guess if we're looking at the 1970s pornos, those were real men, the
hairy chest, the hairy balls, just hair everywhere. Right? And then we went through an era. Johnny, Marty would read magazines and it'd be like, how to make your penis longer. And then the trick was just shave all your pubic hair. Like, oh, is that the trick? Because because then there's a visual aspect to make the penis longer by shaving all the pubic hair when you went from the 80s to the 90s, Johnny.
I gotta tell, I am the most, literally, if I didn't shave, because I've been shaving my whole fucking body. My head, I didn't start till I was in my on and off in my 20s, but I didn't do it for good until I was 40. But my whole body, let's forget my head. Yeah. If I didn't shave, I swear to God, I would have a beard up under these fucking glasses. I swear to God, I am such a hairy motherfucker. Only thing you're going to see is my fucking ears and the top of my head at this point.
Number 8 and 9, before we get to the fit tip here, Jimmy, I know you're getting after it here, is take a few deep breaths, create some mindfulness in the situation, and then start off slow. Right? Start off slow, because we know, men, it's going to go fast anyways. It's going to get fast pretty quick. So start the whole situation off slow and let it build up over time. And you're probably going to enjoy that entire experience more if you start the whole situation slow.
Real quick, brother. What was the? I know we're talking about the list of. What was the title of the list again?
9 things you should always do before having sex. Just putting some.
I know we're pretty deep into the list. Is empty the clip on this motherfucker?
Well, I guess that's the last. No, that's probably the first.
Well, that's the problem. That's the problem with that terrible statistic where people are only having a couple of minutes worth of loving.
Number 1 from the Mornings in the Lab team is empty the clip before you do anything else. Marty, let's get the fit tip, brother. And then we're going to come back, boys, and I want to talk with you guys about, is it better to have a home workout or a gym workout? Let's talk about it in a couple minutes. Marty, get after it, pal.
I just think it's crazy. We do these convos, and now I got to get serious for the fit tips. All right, guys. Come on, man. Anyway. All right, fit tip. Focus on your form, right? You're in the gym. You're doing all these exercises. You see Johnny on Instagram doing it. You see C Marty Fit on Instagram doing it. You don't see Keith doing it because he doesn't post his workouts. I'm just playing. But anyway, what muscle are you targeting, right? Especially if you think that you're not getting results and your workouts aren't doing what they need to do for you, focus on your form. If you're doing chest press, is your chest working? Are you going at the right angle? Are you working out in the right plane? Because, some people, I had to correct someone today, they were doing their chest press up here. and that's a problem, right? You're not activating those pecs, right? On your squats. What muscles do you feel, right? If you're leaning too far forward, you're probably not activating your glutes and your hamstrings. Form is everything. And if you don't feel your form, guess what you can do? You can slow the rep down. You can lighten the weight. Because if your form is not on point, you're not going to get the muscle growth, right? You're not going to get the caloric burn that you want to get, You're not going to get the muscle engagement that you want to get, and that leads to lack of results. Now we're trying other things. We're trying quick fixes, flat tummy teas, and all types of BS that are not going to provide you sustainable long-term results. So when you're in the gym and you see these workouts, ask yourself, what muscle is this working? And am I working that muscle when I do the same exercise? Focus on form. Form is the key to your results. Form is everything. That's the fitness tip for today.
Fit tip of the day with Christopher Martin. See Marty Fit coming out of crazy conversations to serious physical fitness tips.
Yeah, I just got to like flip the switch. I'm like, this is crazy. I mean, it's good practice for me, though. I like it.
It is good practice for you.
It's crazy.
I see Natalia there in the comments. I'd like to form over everything. Listen, you're joining Keith and Marty and John Anderson here in the morning show. Mornings from the Keith and friends. I got the fucking laughters in my head right now. Listen, subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends about this big morning show here. We get out of bed to help you guys get, achieve those big goals here and give you guys tips and information to help you get out and get moving. We're going to talk right now, Marty, about gym workouts, home workouts. What's the best kind of workout? And we both know the best kind of workout is just getting something done. But let's go after it a little bit, boys, because I know that Johnny, you train at home. I got your text, Marty. That's awesome, brother. I got your I train at home. Johnny, I know you train at home, but Johnny, you've owned a gym. Marty, you train at a gym. You've been at a gym. What's your POV on this, boys? Like, besides this idea that just get a lift in, is there a better place than not a home gym, a regular gym? Let's just discuss it, boys. What are your thoughts on it? Johnny, start with you, pal.
I think the first thing you got to figure out is what type of a timeline do you have? Usually the I don't have the time. Well, guess what? That means you got how many minutes you have? You got 10? I guess your fucking workout's happening right where you're standing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It comes down to what's the best one. It's the where should it be? It should be in the place where you can fit it in. And whether that's the gym, whether that's literally, in your office and locking the door or whatever it is, it's just catching that goddamn sweat.
You know what I loved? I saw Marty. I'm gonna come to you here. I saw Arnold post a video last week, and it had a video of him in his office, in his office, and it was a chessboard and all his trophies and all of his what you'd imagine would be in Arnold Schwarzenegger's office, right? Right in the middle of his fucking office on the floor was like a lay down lat bar pull down thing, and it's seriously because you got this wonderfully designed office, but then interspersed with his office is all his workout equipment, and it's just pretty. It's like. Because we all think you need to be in a gym, but he's like, no, there's my lap machine in the middle of my office. Marty, what are your thoughts on this whole discussion?
Well, I prefer the gym, right? But if
social aspect,
yeah, that's a whole nother topic. I don't even want to get into it. I prefer the gym, but you can be effective at home for sure. Now you'll have to switch the way you work out, right? You'll probably have to do a little bit higher intensity, less rest breaks. And if you just have lat pull down in your office, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, maybe you got to get 200, 300, 400, 500 reps in. Right. Because you're not getting a full workout. Right. So you just basically have to adjust to what you do have. But you can definitely be effective at home. Me, I prefer the gym. And if I'm training someone, I would prefer for them to be going to the gym. That's just me.
What would you? So, John, Marty, both you guys question. I'm just getting started. I want to set up a home situation for myself. What are you telling me I need? A bench, barbells, dumbbells.
What's the fitness level?
Fitness level. What do you want to invest?
Yeah, great question. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, because if you don't have anything to invest, you just got to fucking move your furniture out of the way.
Yeah. And if it's a beginner, you could do some calisthenics. You don't even need to be touching weights yet. Yeah. You don't have the foundation, right?
When I was on the road, I traveled. Sorry, Marty. I just bursting out of it. I was on the road in Japan, man. We would get to these country towns, they call them. And the gyms there were so sparse that it almost was a waste of time to go to the gym because usually, anyway. So if we were in a country town, not in a city, I would choose to work out of my hotel room, which is the body weight, over going and finding a way to work with the subpar equipment. Yeah. Because, it's like trying to figure out what to do with something when it's really not what you need. It's better off you control your environment. You have the variables under control with your body weight. And I did that a ton. Working out with your body weight often, I mean, shit, I didn't have any problems with it, but you got to do it. That's the key. It's the discipline of doing it.
I'm betting then, Johnny and Marty, you guys are probably big fans of, especially you, John, traveling. You can get a lot of work done with just resistance bands, can't you, Johnny, Marty?
Oh, Marty, I interrupted you, so I'll let you go on this one, brother. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good. Yeah, you can do a lot with resistance bands, man. That was actually like one of my staples for myself and my clients over the pandemic out in California.
Yeah.
When the gyms were closed for over a year. But anyway, it's all about the muscle engagement. Are you working the muscle, right? You can do time under tension. You can increase the reps. You can decrease the rest break. But you just put your body under stress, and the resistance bands can definitely get the job done.
Yes. Yeah.
If you got a partner, let's just say for some reason you're in a hotel room and you got a buddy in next door and there's some sort of a blizzard, maybe like you're up in Canada and they can't get to the gym. Take a fucking towel, get your buddy. You and your buddy with a towel can have a pretty nasty workout.
Yep.
Literally. In terms of like you can use it. Well, you can basically, your buddy's creating a resistance. Say that you're going to do a curl. So you're grabbing the towel's going through your hands right here, right? You're doing a curl. He's down holding onto the towel, creating a resistance.
Yep.
I mean, and think about most every exercise. Obviously, you're going to do a push up yourself, but then he can basically put pressure on your back, right? You can do a squat. Like how many times where I'd have one of my daughters jump up on my back and I'd knock out 50 bodyweight squats. That's fucking nasty, dude.
I'm having a big duh moment, like a massive duh moment right now, listening to you boys talk, because I'm like, duh. I never even thought about like the towel method. And yeah, if you're traveling, you're for a wrestler or a bodybuilder, or you need to get a pump, you need to create resistance. Never did it cross my mind that the towel method would be a great way to do that.
Yeah. And people say, well, what do I do? Fucking find a way to sweat. That's what you do.
Yeah. You know who we have coming on the show tomorrow, boys? Scott Stetler or Scott Shetler. He is a strongman. I found him on Substack, Johnny, and he lifts massive stones. And I said, hey, why don't you come join the show with me and Marty and John Anderson? He's like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah. So he's going to come on the show.
Where does he compete?
I don't know. I'm going to do a little bit of research today, but I was struck by the fact that Marty, I've only met a few people in my life that have picked up big ass stones in their entire life and moved them around, and one of them hanging out with us right now. So anybody does that, it makes me curious. I'm like,
yeah, they're gonna have a blast tomorrow.
Like, what got you into picking up these big stones, right? So, but I bring it up because it's like the towel method. And what I love about since we've been hanging out with Johnny Marty is that I hear all these things that I wouldn't even fucking think about, like to create resistance, create like eat protein, like just the things that like he always talks about, doing the shit that others won't do. It's one thing to do it. It's another thing to even think about it.
Yep.
Like what gave
you? Because if you have the mindset of doing what other people won't do, this shit comes to mind very quickly.
I get it. Oh, speaking of coming quickly, boys, we have some very, very reputable information in the there's no segue there.
Marty missed that because he didn't hide from the camera. Marty missed that one altogether. Normally that's when he gets out of the way,
Yeah, that was crazy. That was too fast.
We do have Scott Benzie coming in with some really, really reputable information. Because Scott, I do see your comment. And apparently, boys, Scott is saying this. Share. And I'm thinking he's talking about, like, as in, do you believe in life after love? You know that, Cher? Cher has always said, if you have time to brush your teeth, you have time to work out. I'm not sure why the hell Scott Benzie's referencing Cher in this conversation, but yes, Scott.
Is that her quote?
I don't know. I don't know why we're talking about.
I think he made that up.
I'm thinking so too. But then Scotty comes back with, hey, John, did Lou Ferrigno use 2 Olympic sets and some dumbbells to train with while filming Hercules? Yeah, I'm sure he did. I'm sure he did some crazy shit. Oh, yeah, and Scott Benzius, yes, that was Cher's quote. I never in my life thought we'd be quoting Cher on the fucking morning show.
Well, I mean, Cher, she kept herself in pretty goddamn good shape, so she's living proof.
I think Cher's 100 now. I think isn't she about 100 or so? All right, let's get to the lifestyle tip of John Addison. We're going to bring AJ Zeglin in. We're going to talk about. I think we're going to go back to the top of the conversation, boys, and talk about bonus dads and bonus life, and we're going to talk about AJ with that coming up. Johnny, let's get after it, pal.
Where are the gains? Where is the progress hiding? This shit hides from us. Well, let me explain to you really simply where to find it. Number one, right here, right now. Not later, not tomorrow. If you're waiting for later and tomorrow, you're missing the shit because it's sitting right in front of you. The next place it is, it's in those uncomfortable spots, because doing something right now is most times uncomfortable. So remember, when you're looking for the progress, you're looking for the gains, and you seem not to be able to find it, just look two simple places. Two simple places. Right here, right now, because it's uncomfortable. Rock and roll.
Here, right now, because it's uncomfortable. That's how we get after it. Don't wait, guys. That's not what we stand for here on the show. We stand for getting after it. Speaking of getting after it, we got our buddy, Mr. Zeglin, AJ Zeglin, joining us. What's up, brother?
What's up, guys? How you guys doing?
Good. How are you today?
Oh man, I'm doing good.
Yeah. Why are you good today?
Well, because I was on my roof at 5 a.m, pouring hot water down my stack that froze over because it's minus 46 degrees Celsius.
Remember how
what forgive me, for those of us in California, we don't really know what pouring hot water down a stack is. Can you be more detailed than that?
Me too. I don't know either. This probably is Canadian slang.
Get after it, Zeglin. Set the stage.
So you have so if you look on top of your roof, you'll have these everywhere, but you'll have like a fresh air stack. And so when you flush a toilet or do anything like that, it gets some
it lets okay. Yeah.
Air down that stack, and that's what anyway, we get so cold up here sometimes that the moisture in the air, the way the wind's blowing, or if there's snowfall combined with extreme cold, then those stacks can freeze over. And so then you start getting like a sewer smell in your house, or your toilet doesn't flush as well. So then you got to go up on your roof and pour hot water down the stack because it's all iced over. But it was in Fahrenheit for you guys. I think it worked out to about, it's been minus 50 here the last 2 days.
Yeah, I'm just looking at you. It's actually minus 51 right now, boys.
Minus 51 Fahrenheit.
Well,
yeah.
this 12.
Is that with the wind, or is that still?
That's with the wind.
With the wind, yeah.
I was going to say, holy Christ! If there's wind involved in that, I can't even imagine, because the wind chill.
Yes.
Oh man, I'm telling you,
you get it. Yeah.
I've been up in your neck of the woods one time. It was Regina, Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
I took about 3 steps outside that airplane, man, and I went right back in and said, "You all got to give me a blanket or something," because I had to go about 100 yards over the tarmac. Oh, dude, crazy.
Keith, it's 12 degrees here, Keith, and we complaining. It's 12 here.
Believe me, I know. I know you guys complain about that.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
So Zeglin, I didn't set you up today on purpose. I wanted to kind of come in organically, and believe it or not, organically, I think we're gonna end our first hour the way we started out. AJ, we got into the first loop here this morning, morning live with Keith and friends here. We talked about being a bonus dad and having bonus children and the stresses that come with that, the opportunities that come with that. And I'm curious, and maybe you've experienced this, AJ, maybe you haven't, but I'm curious if there's been men or clients that have come through your world, mental performance, and so Nation, as we know, AJ is a mental performance coach, working with humans to help them get their mind right, as well as working in the gym to get their physical fitness right. But AJ, have you had clients come to you or men come to you talking about challenges / opportunities around being a bonus father or a bonus mother or having a bonus child? And could you imagine, AJ, some of those challenges or opportunities that come up in that situation? AJ.
Yeah, no, for sure. I have had people come through and have that be part of the discussion.
Blended families and all that.
Yeah, I would say it's almost the norm. Well, when you look at the statistics of just the separation and divorces and stuff like that, right? You can start to see when that's hovering around 50%.
Yes.
Then there's going to be a very high percentage then in the future of blended families and mixed families and
yes.
and all sorts of different dynamics that come with that. So yeah, I think it is, you know, the people that I've dealt with it, if I'm speaking from my own personal experience, people that I've worked with, you know, it's always been in a very actually positive capacity. So which I think is great, because that's what you want it to be, right?
Yes.
I would imagine, and I just haven't come across it yet, but I would imagine, and I could see how there could definitely be some challenges in there, and maybe it's not a positive experience for people involved, because people would probably start to let the other aspects of that relationship, maybe they're in a disagreement with their ex or whatever egos get involved in different stuff like that, and now it becomes a bit of a pissing match and back and forth, and well, I'm gonna, you know, and then so I could see how it could go south real quick, like how it could get negative. Fortunately for me, like I said, with the people I've worked with, it's been in a really positive thing, and more so from the angle of like, hey, this is the situation that we're in now. We're actually really happy to be in it. We just want to know how to like best support it and stuff. So then you're like, oh, this is great. You got people that have seemed to kind of figured their priorities out. They're thinking about it clearly. They're thinking about it responsibly. They're thinking of seeing it as a positive opportunity. And so they just kind of want to get clarity on like how to move forward, how to best show support, how to, you know, which is, I think, amazing, right? I would say that's probably the goal in those situations.
I love how you brought ego into this, because I suspect in situations with bonus children, bonus partners, there's conflicting priorities perhaps along the way, and ego can get in the way of that, AJ, right? And I've got to think in your world, when you work with mental performance and mind performance with humans, ego is a big part of the conversation, because I know we've talked on the show before, like ego is a good thing, but ego can also get in the way and cause a lot of havoc, AJ?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like, you know, if I were to just try to put myself in a situation like that, if I'm just being completely honest, my first natural reaction that I would immediately jump to in my mind is like, I want someone else raising my kids. I don't want some other man teaching my son how to do this, or teaching my son how to be a man, or teaching you know, that would be my natural instinct, like just to just instantly go there in my mind, right?
But it is, if I can come with you, it is though, because I've been there.
Right, yeah.
I've been there when I separated with my ex, and all of a sudden I'm going, okay, there's going to be a day where my young man might be getting influenced by John Anderson or by AJ Zeglin or Christopher Martin, and you have to reconcile in your own brain that that's what's going to happen.
Right, yeah, and that can be tough, right? And when I think about it, it's a reaction. Obviously, that's based on my own ego. Right? You know, being and you know, like most things in life, I think especially when it comes to, you know, kids and children and people around you, you know, you just got to remember, like, it's not about you, right?
Yeah,
it really isn't.
Yeah,
it's not about you. It's you know,
and it wasn't about you at 3 o'clock in the morning when you're on the roof cleaning out that stack, was it, AJ?
No, you know, honestly, I was like, I can't do it. If I leave the house and put this off to do it when I get home, then, you know, Melissa's going to be calling during the day being like, I could smell sewer in the house and all day and like shit like that. And I'm just like, I just want to take care of this immediately. So everyone else in the house just wakes up and no one knows that there is an issue. You know what I mean? They just wake up and go about their day and they're good. Right.
Hey, John, so this is interesting what AJ said about ego and recognizing in our own head that somebody else might be taking care of our children. John, you know, as you went through your journey as a bonus dad and so forth, do you reflect on that, or do you think that your bio dad or your bonus dad had those thoughts go through his head, or did you even have it through your head, Johnny?
Yeah, it was an interesting dynamic, you know. So I mean, I learned a lot from me having a stepdad and me dealing with, you know. So my real dad, he as I really started to bond my stepdad. There was a period where I just started to call him dad, and my real dad caught wind of that, and he didn't say don't do that, but he definitely his reaction put me in a position where I felt like I shouldn't do it anymore, which is one of my biggest regrets with my real dad, because I never got back to calling my stepdad dad. I mean, we had, when he died of cancer, and we had a really, really amazing moment a couple days before he died. So, you know, I know that he knows that I loved him, and I know that he hears me talk about him now, and he's the primary influence over me. But that was a tough one, right? And then, you know, on the other side of the coin, right? So my youngest, my baby, she doesn't even remember. You know, when Tara and I got together, she was 18 months, so she doesn't remember. She just remembers growing up with two dads, right? And so she called me dad, and then once her dad caught wind of it, he put pressure on her, so she stopped for a while, but then she came back to it, you know. But what I did was, and then my DNA child, when she was actually being, you know, had time with her stepdad, you know, that was I got really lucky with that one. Holy shit, he was a good dude. But the thing that I think what I'm getting at here, put all that negative shit aside. What I recognized very quickly was I knew right away that I was going to be a better, and not to sound like an egotistical bastard. I just knew the way I lived my life. I was going to be a better role model to my youngest, who was my step, right? So I had that covered. I'm like, okay, I got this one covered. I'm going to be to her who my stepdad was to me. But now, how did I deal with my DNA child being, you know, having time or being raised partially by another male? Was I fucking bonded with him. You know, I was like, we're going to do this together. You know, it wasn't like I went to him and it was covert, but I never, ever, and he was a good dude, but so it was pretty fucking easy. But there were some challenging times because, you know, my ex, you know, my little one's mom, she was a little wild, and she was sometimes hard to tame. And if she would come to me bitching about him, right? So I would get caught in the middle, and I had to balance that. So, but really what it came down to, I think my advice to dads out there was, if you have another man, you know, a stepdad of your little one, you know, don't look at that as a negative thing. Like, oh my God, he's going to do this. He's going to get involved with him, you know, bond with him, make sure it's a team effort, because that's a way that you have the ability to control that situation a lot more than you're thinking. But you got to put in the work.
Let me ask you something, Johnny, because I know just from having different like friendships and clients and stuff, sometimes you might have a situation where the mom, like you said, you can't tame her, and the stepdad will take her side and just automatically, maybe, I don't want to say hate you, but just see you in a negative way. What do you say to that guy? Might have trouble getting in there.
That's a great one, and that's actually the first step in the equation. So the first step in the equation with her, I had to become a really fucking good actor, really good. It wasn't about me acting on emotion or me acting. It was like, okay, this is what I need to happen. How the fuck do I position myself to get it to happen? And it was like I had to like. She was really quick to the trigger. She was very, very reactive, so I was very responsive. You know, so I just literally, I had to be, like I said, I was a good actor with her to keep her semi-tamed. I had a harder problem with basically her coming to me about him rather than her going to him about me. That makes sense?
Yeah.
I kind of flipped the script because I was so good at being a good actor. You know, she wasn't, he saw how how stable I was. He was like, you know, he kind of understood that she was just bitching to bitch. That makes sense. But now he's coming to me about him. That's a fucking tough balance because she needs me to take her side because, you know, it's like we have this bond over the child. That makes sense. So I actually had an easier time being a good actor with her. I had an easier time with him than being a good actor with her. So I had to play both sides, and it was a fucking tough balance, really difficult balance. And there were many times, I'll be honest, where I had to pay for the piece. Literally. Like I remember one time where her car was fucking breaking down and, you know, whatever their situation was financially, and she was just making a big mess about it, and she was leaning on me. So I just fucking bought her another car. You know, I was like, look, and not to mention too, I didn't want my fucking child riding around in a car that might break down. So I was like, okay, let's get rid of this. Let's give you this car, you know, and so that kind of thing really helped in the regards that he saw I was taking care of the situation. It was just, I think you can see it. There's no plan. You just have to kind of get in there and figure out how to keep the peace and how to keep that balance. And there's no handbook on that shit. For sure. What you're looking for is peace. And you sometimes it's a different fucking handbook or different playbook, so to speak, because there's no handbook sometimes every day.
AJ, final word to you to wrap the segment up. And some great nuggets and bombs that John dropped there, especially when we come out of the conversation about ego. AJ, what do you hear when you hear Johnny talking about that, especially the men that might be going?
Ego's on the shelf playing that role. That's for sure.
No kidding. No kidding. Zeg, what do you hear, buddy? What do you hear about that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you see someone who's genuine in how they care about their child, right? And even, you know, like we were saying before, in those situations, it's not about you. So he's like, okay, what do I have to do to make sure, okay, well, I might have to act in this way with this and, you know, to make this all go smoothly and the best situation possible. Because it's not about me. It's about me trying to provide the best environment for my child. I might have to put my ego on the shelf and go and step up and form a relationship with this other guy and show him and do it together, right? And I think, you know, I think the important thing there and too is not only that you've put the kid first, you've put your ego aside, but you've actually shown them that. You know, we've talked about it before, is that people can talk about stuff all they want. People are going to believe what you show them. You are what your actions are. So if you're sitting there and you're going through this moment and you're telling your kid or your children, don't worry, like, you know, I would do anything for you. Like, you're still the priority. We want to make sure you have a stable environment. But then they go and see you act and do things that don't create a stable environment. Then you could tell them that's important to you all you want. You're showing them something different, right? So when they're able to go and view, you know, your dad, and they can view John making the effort to have the relationship with this guy, doing what needs to be done to still make sure that he gets along with mom. You know what I mean? Yeah. The piece there. Then not only are you saying to your child, you're a priority and the environment that you grow up as a priority to me, but they're seeing it. So the fact that they see it and you're showing them, they're going to believe it. Right. And then that's the most meaningful part.
I know we got to rock and roll and you got to get out of here, but this last 4 or 5 minutes, AJ, it would seem to me it's like a real life scenario where there'd be a man coming into your room saying, "Oh fuck, AJ, I got my wife and I are going through divorce. There's this other dude wanting to raise my kid, and I can't get myself sorted out." And you're just basically going to say to me, "Well, hey man, have you thought about what's best for the child? Have you thought about reaching out to the man who's now going to be that guy?" Because you're going to make me kind of go, "Oh, I didn't really think about that part." And then you're going to invite me to put my ego aside. So, you know, without even knowing, and you know, we've really dropped some nuggets here for somebody tuning in, because it's hard to put ego aside, AJ Zeglin.
Super hard.
Like,
super hard.
Hard, man.
Well, what's more important, your ego or your child? Well, you know, if you really love your child, you don't give a shit about your ego.
But that's my point about this, right? And that's why I think, you know, where AJ's role in this situation with his professional expertise, there's a guy coming in and AJ's got to have the courage, AJ is inviting the man to go, "All right, Mr. Billis, what I'm going to encourage you to do is take those 3 little letters that spells ego and just put it over there."
Yeah. Yeah. And just try to help you shift your perspective on it, right? You have to come to that realization yourself. I don't work with anyone where I actually tell them what to do.
No.
I never have a client. I'm like, "Hey, you have to do this."
No.
Because I'm like,
invite them to think about, you'll make recommendations and suggestions.
Exactly. It's like, let's think about this. Let's talk about this. Let's look at different angles.
Yes.
Let's look at the different repercussions and possibilities. Let's whatever, because, I'm more of the believer that I think that people inherently are good. And I think that people want to be good.
Yes.
And I think that people have that capability. Everyone has that capability to become that person that they want to be. So my job is to really help empower them to, how much more meaningful is that than if I just say like, hey, do this, or if they come to that own realization that, hey, no, this is the man that I have to step up and be. That's an empowering feeling for them to come to that conclusion and for them to act on it, and for that to be that to be their idea. You know what I mean? Now the belief in themselves just climbs, right? Because they're like, oh, I am capable. I do have the power to make these changes and be this person that I want to be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the difference between just following someone's direction or actually thinking about something and becoming one with the decision that you need to make, the belief that you're doing the right thing, makes it so much easier than when you're just following a recipe, so to speak.
Right.
You know?
Right.
All right, guys, great conversation this morning with AJ Zeglin, our friend, our brother from Mind Fuel, mental performance expert AJ Zeglin here. AJ, what do you got going on the agenda here today, pal? I know you were up early and you got a busy day ahead of you here, I'm sure.
Yeah, just gonna step back in the gym, and then some clients this afternoon, and then some presentations this evening. I have a team that or a couple teams that I work with, so I'm off presenting to one of the teams tonight. So
awesome.
Yes, sir.
Is it a deep cheek development day today, brother, in the gym?
It is, man. Every Tuesday.
There we go, baby.
Deep cheek day.
It's legs day. All right, AJ Zeglin from Invictus Mental Performance joining us here this morning. He joins us every Tuesday and Thursday. AJ, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for jumping in here today. And Mr. Zeglin, I got a package of content for you. I'm going to drop you a text today. We've got all these clips we're making up for you, so we're going to drop into your. I got it for you to start to distributing as well. So producer Jimmy has been working his ass off, so we got some stuff for you. I'm going to drop into your inbox.
Nice.
Okay, pal?
Thank you, Jimmy.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
AJ's gonna get out of here, and I know our friend Marty's got to get out of here. Marty, you got some shit to do.
Yes, sir.
And then,
Come on, man, I never not got shit to do, man.
You always got shit to do. Me and Johnny,
I'm like Johnny, man. I always got some shit to do, man.
Me and Johnny are in the community corner, wrap up with the Creator Spotlight, and we're gonna get out of here as well. So, Mr. Martin, you have yourself a good day, brother.
All right, man. See y'all tomorrow. Y'all have a good one.
Have a good look, brother.
Yes, sir.
24. All right, Marty's out of here. Johnny, you're gonna go for a quick little break, and then we're gonna come back and do the.
Yeah, and I got to be gone in 10 minutes at 6:20.
You me
that
both.
work?
Let's do it, brother.
Perfect. Right. I know we were talking about doing a 75-minute, but that one got fun, so I figured we might have been running behind.
That's right. All right, I'll reset it, pal. You go for your break. We'll come back. We'll keep going. Okay, buddy?
Let's rock.
All right. Johnny's gonna go for a quick little break, and we're gonna keep the show rolling here. All right, Jimmy. So, hey, listen, guys, we wrapped up the first hour of the show here, Mornings Alive with Keith and Friends, the only morning show to help you guys get yourself moving. We are the future of men's conversation. You've heard me say this before. You know, years ago, we started reading magazines like GQ and Sports Illustrated and Playboy and Men's Health and Men's Fitness and Ask Men. And then along the way, the journey went from magazines to radio and Howard Stern. And we wake up in 2024 with a show built for you, for men. We're taking those static conversations from the page of those magazines. We're taking those static conversations from the videos of the past, those on-demand conversations, and bringing them into the live conversation we're having here on Mornings in Live with Keith and Friends. What do we talk about? Topics that are important to men. And if they're important to men, they're probably important to our wives. So while we are a show for men, we are also encouraging our wives and all the lovely women out there to tune in to learn about what men are talking about. This morning, we talked about, 9 things you should do before having sex. We talked a great deal this morning, guys, about being a bonus dad. Yeah, you know, often we talk about stepfathers and stepchildren. You know, we flipped the script. We talked about being a bonus dad and having bonus children and what that feels like in those situations when you're going through raising a non-biological child as your own child. And we talked about putting ego aside and so forth as life goes on here. So, but listen, Jimmy, let's keep it rolling, man. We're going to get to the Creator Spotlight. I know Johnny's back in the chair there. We're going to get Johnny back up here, and we're going to move over to the Creator Spotlight part of the show here in the community corner, where we like to shine the light on somebody in the community. And we got somebody here who is Johnny, who is a resistance buster. And this one's he's an interesting fellow. He's got a fucking great beard.
Resistance buster. What is resistance buster?
He's a believer in doing less dumb shit. So Johnny, I know you're gonna those first 2 hooks right there you're gonna resonate with. because he's all about doing less dumb shit. I know you, and I know it's kind of a tagline in your world, which is we got to do less dumb shit, man. Right? The less dumb shit.
Remove one bad habit, and you'll propel yourself forward.
That's exactly it, right? So boys, your business looks good on paper, but behind the scenes, it probably feels like you're spinning your wheels. You're drowning in those low value tasks. You're burning out while you're trying to do more. You got all that going on. And the optimization hacks, get up at 4 a.m., get in the cold tub, do all these things. And those optimization hacks that everybody swears by, to this guy, they're just not cutting it. And I know it might sound familiar to you, men. It's not your business that's broken. It's your resistance to change. Yeah. And I think
that's a tough one, man. That's a real tough one.
It is a tough one because, we need to accept change before we can make change. And if resistance to change is in the way, it's going to be a hard time you're going to have a hard time accepting it. So today's creator spotlight, Johnny, is the guy who gets you out of the rut. No cookie cutter advice, no surface level productivity tricks. Just sharp, tailored coaching to help you focus on what actually works. So this morning, this coach, Johnny, this morning we are going to meet Jimmy. I got the horizontal pal. I'm going to call it up here now, Jimmy. This morning, Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends is going to celebrate somebody, as I get my buttons ready, who is a resistance buster, believes in doing less than dumb shit, 30 plus clients served one-on-one, helping successful business owners eliminate mental noise, rewire how they process challenges, and think clear, feel calmer, and lead better. He's out of the greater Vancouver area. This morning, Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends is going to celebrate Stephen Timoni. Stephen, Johnny, he's the coach for business owners ready to stop spinning their wheels and start enjoying the success they've built. Stephen helps you guys bust through mental and emotional resistance, align actions with high impact goals, reclaim time, energy, and focus. Staying stuck isn't an option with Stephen. Doubling down on what's not working isn't the solution. So listen, guys, if you're tired of feeling overwhelmed, if you're tired of underperforming, Stephen Timoni will help you break through the noise, find clarity, and build that unstoppable momentum. So I invite you guys to check out his beard. The guy's got rocking a good hairstyle. It looks like he's got it going over there. He's out of the Vancouver area. I invite you to check out his LinkedIn profile. He's all about video, making some great videos to introduce himself and get you all comfortable with Stephen Timoni. So Stephen, here's how this works, my friend. We've celebrated you. We know there's somebody in your network who has moved you, who has said, wow, that dude, that lady, that human's doing great things. Well, we'd like to have you bring them here to the lab and celebrate them. Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends for the Creator Spotlight. So, Stephen, we're celebrating you this morning, and we want to have you on the show so you can celebrate somebody along with us in the future. There you go, Johnny. There's our Creator Spotlight this morning in the Community Corner. Good segment here, which we like to do to bring in the community into the show here, which is why we do this segment every single day. Love it, love it, love it. Another good show, pal. We're working towards wrapping it up here. I know you got to get going here today. Hey, before we do, I'm always asking these questions because I'm curious. How's your team coming? How's your team coming in the pond there? And I ask it because guys that are building businesses don't recognize the difficulties about building remote workforces. So how's that going, pal?
It's going good. One of the things that I guess I've kind of adapted this principle. I'm quick to give an opportunity if I find a character, but at the same time, I'm also, I hate to use the word quit, but a quick to quit kind of sticks in my mind, meaning like I'm gonna see pretty quickly if someone is going to display that character or did I just misjudge that character?
Yes.
So it's kind of a musical chairs thing because when it comes down to it, I want to give the right people the opportunity.
I think you've nailed it though, pal. And I know we both got to rock and roll here in 2 minutes. So let's just create a quick little piece of content here. I think you've nailed it. Character to me, Johnny, is the most important attribute when I'm hiring somebody. Like there's
all I need.
Me too. And I can know I'll be honest with you. It's like when I met you on the first show. Like when I met you, when I started live in the lab with you and I hung up that show the first time, like about a year ago, I'm like, fuck, I dig this guy. I get along with him. I got a vibe with him because I could tell something about your character. And I've made mistakes with character where somebody hasn't worked out, but if I'm vibing and I get a good idea about your character and your work ethic and your attitude, I'm all in with you. The same way that if I see along the way that it's not working, then it's time to make a different decision. But to me, character is the most important thing, man.
And I totally agree, brother. and I look for the character. So a lot of times when you're, it's that part of your brain when you're looking for, like, if you're looking for red, you look around the room, you're going to find a bunch of red. Well, I'm looking for, I'm having a brain fart, but it's a part of the brain that's designed for this. We've talked about it in the show.
Yes.
Especially AJ has brought it multiple times. But anyway, so I'm looking for good character. So I think I find that good character, but in actuality, I'm just finding those little pieces and thinking it's going to, but when it comes down to it, then if you can see otherwise in the first day or two, because good character, it shows through, once the actual ball starts to roll, so to speak.
And then once you find that human with good character, in my experience, you wrap your arms around them and you empower the motherfuck out of them. And you set them on a stage and you just elevate them and empower them and encourage them and just set them free. And then keep doing it. No different than when you're coaching your clients, right? Because you're like, okay, this boy, this girl, they're buying in, and you just keep empowering. Because then what happens, Johnny, is their character, they eat it up because they want to eat it up. They want to keep going. Right. Speaking of good character,
sure.
You know who was on our show last week? Mike Smart, the Smart Buddies. He's got the food for children. He's got 3 girls there in South Dakota. He was on the show last week there. Solid man. Him and I had coffee yesterday. Solid dude, man. He's a guy with character that I'm like, I think I might want to maybe do some work with this guy because, and to me, character is about showing up, right? Because that's
the base. That's the foundation of it.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It absolutely is. All right, pal. Well, listen, let's get after it, man. I know you got a busy day, and so do I. So we're gonna wrap up the show here. So listen, Jimmy, let's get after it, buddy. On behalf of myself, Keith Billis, over there, Johnny Anderson, in the cloud of smoke. Our friend AJ Zeglin getting off the roof here in Manitoba. Marty driving off to Gold's Gym. Scott Benzie, Jimmy, Adam Holroyd, Natalia. Good time. I love you. Good time. You're always joining us in the show here. Who else we got here this morning? Enzo, everybody else here. Thanks for joining us this morning. We're back here in less than 24 hours. Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends. Myself, John Anderson, Christopher Martin, Jimmy on the buttons. We got a guest tomorrow, guys. We got Scott Stetler. We're going to talk big stones, big lifting, and going to talk strongman stuff. So, Johnny, let's get after, brother. I love you, man. Have a good one. We'll talk in less than 24, okay?
Have a great loop, my brother.
All right, pal. Take care, buddy. All right, Jimmy, let's get out of here, bud.